Godfather of Harlem, Episode 9, Rent Strike Blues. Adam Clayton Powell is doing a protest with the tenants because they have a rat-infested situation going on. And Teddy Green's song is playing in the background, We Rise song. Mayme is out there protesting with some of the protests. They're chained to the front of the entrance of the complex. The police are outside the Nation of Islam, the FOI, who are the Fruits of Islam security force of the Nation of Islam, outside maintaining the order to make the protest peaceful. The police tell Adam Clayton Powell that there's a eviction notice for the tenants. Adam Clayton Powell saying that we're not violent, we're nonviolent protest, civil disobedience. The cop then tells him that that basically they want the protesters to leave. They're going to arrest them. And they say something to Mayme Johnson. He said that we're going to do our job too, as well as you're doing your job. One of the cops approaches her in the wrong kind of manner, and so happens to be there is Doug Jones, the boxer who she's having the affair with. And the reporter takes a picture of her, and that's going to be in the newspaper. You know, that's going to be a backlash from that situation. Bumpy's in the club. They're playing some jazz. He walks through, talks to the lady bartender, the owner of the club, and she said that somebody's looking for you, and she's a man eater, real man eater. Sounds like a classic song. You better watch out, Bumpy. And or you're going to end back in the hospital. The lady so happens to be Amy Vanderbilt, one of the richest women at that time, and the one of the 6 richest women. And she sees Bumpy and tells him that she was concerned about him because she heard he got shot. And she's involved in the political action with Adam Clayton Powell for civil rights. And she basically talks to her, and they can tell that they got a history. And then the next thing you know, they're in the bathroom stall getting it on, if you know what I mean. Bumpy is talking to Adam Clayton Powell, tell him to back down about the protesting because Adam Clayton Powell said he has information. He's trying to do more digging. That it's a consortium that owns these apartments. And the big secret is not really a big secret. The mob and Bumpy Johnson controls the apartment buildings in Harlem. And he said with the help of Amy Vanderbilt, he's going to get down to the bottom of it and expose these people. Bumpy goes to the warehouse, talks about his operation with the mob bosses. They're impressed. Then he also talks about the situation about the consortium of the apartments. If that information gets out, it's going to destroy everybody. It's going to be exposed. The Italians basically are telling Bumpy that they really want him to handle the situation, what's going on, and they talking about Chin, Gigante. He's an embarrassment, and Bumpy's trying to find a way to get a better price for the product that he's selling, the drugs, narcotics, and Gigante's talking to another big mob boss about Bumpy is the one responsible for killing Lorenzo, and Bumpy responsible for killing Zambino. Bumpy is responsible for Zambino, but not Lorenzo. Gigante, Chin Gigante is the one that killed Lorenzo because his girl was having a relationship with Lorenzo, and she got pregnant, and he found out about it, and she had aborted the baby. But anyway, I digress. Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad are talking in the temple. The FOI are doing martial art training drills. They're talking about the situation that's going on in Harlem and extreme tension and protest. And, the nation was used in resolving some of the situation with that particular incident with the protest where the people were chained and people got into a fight, and they were also there where the police was there as well. And Elijah is telling him that you have enemies among you in the leadership and are all around you. And I said, well, I remember the last couple of episodes, he wanted Bumpy Johnson's daughter, who just joined the Nation of Islam, to spy and give all of his activities, his ins and outs, and who he was talking to. But I digress. He does not want the Nation of Islam used for political action. He said that the FOI, the Nation of Islam, is basically a religious outfit. It's not a political one. They work to save souls, not apartment buildings. You don't need to antagonize the government. You do that enough without doing that. Ernie Gigante soldiers looking for the hooker that set up Zambrani so that Bubby could kill him. And he told her to skip town. He's doing an investigation. He knows a guy in the club. This guy's being kind of coy. We've been talking about he can get him some women. He's looking for a woman. He's I can get you any woman you want. This, that, and the third. And he's looking for the woman that was with Zabrani, the one that got killed. And the guy said, I don't know nothing about what happened to Flossie. Then he's asking anybody in the club know anybody. One hooker looked like she was going to say something. Then everybody looked at her and she didn't say anything. So he said he's going to pay anybody $100 if they could do it. He's looking for this woman that dressed up like a maid that was having intimate relations with Zabrano and got killed. And then the bartender lady said that she heard that she moved to Washington and she's out the business. She became a religious 7-day Adventist. So eventually he leaves. Bumpy goes to Adam Clayton Powell, tell him to chill out about the investigation. And he brings Esther James in, the woman that was trying to sue him for libel. And he tells him, Adam, that if he ends the investigation, only pay her $1, and the lawsuit will be removed from his situation. Margaret is listening to Teddy Green, a record, and singing. Bumpy comes home. Margaret shows the paper of her mother, which is really her grandmother, on the cover with Doug Jones' arms all over her at the protest. He said, you should be proud of your mother. And tell her to get her homework. Bumpy confronts Mayme about Doug Jones. What's going on? She said, nothing's going on. He was trying to protect me because the cops were trying to attack me, and he just came to my defense. And then she brings up the fact that she smelled the stench of Amy Vanderbilt's perfume on his body. He said, ain't nothing. She ain't nothing to me. And keeps pressing her about Doug Jones. What's going on? And they get into it. He leaves. Malcolm's in the temple thinking. Elise comes to his office and brings him some food. He said he's not hungry. He's kind of distracted. He's kind of troubled by what's going on within the organization, and that he's troubled by things in society and the philosophy of them not being involved in the civil rights movement. He's kind of disheartened about it. Elise gives him some kind words. And then all of a sudden, this Muslim lady comes in there and tells her to go back to work. And then she gives Malcolm the coldest stare I've ever seen in my life. And then she slams the door. I digress again. Anyway, Ted Green was in the club with Stella. He was messing with some ladies. They're getting a little cozy. Got some drinks. He tells her when he sees Stella to go get some drinks. I'll give you some money. And she's talking to Teddy. And they talk about the new song. How it's a big hit around town. It's a big buzz about it. And he's upset about his friend getting killed. And she said she loves him. He said he doesn't need her anymore. So she dips out of there. Ernie picks up a hooker that was in the bar that was about to say something about Flossie. He gets her in the car and prompts her to give her some money. She told that Flossie went to Philadelphia. She came back home to visit her mother. That's all she knows. Bumpy Johnson, Elise, and Malcolm are talking. They're having dinner about resolving the problem with the housing issue. And Malcolm said they want him to talk to Adam Clayton Powell, but he said I can understand where Adam Clayton Powell is coming from because you tied up in this Italian mafia thing, and that's why Adam feels kind of uneasy. But I can understand that. Malcolm asked, he wants him to try to convince him to close the investigation down. The waitress bring the food, and they give Malcolm the wrong plate because he got the pork on the plate. He don't eat pork. And then he asked his daughter, "You gave up pork too?" He said, "I remember you used to love pork when you were little." He said, "I still love it, but I gave it up because I converted to Islam, and the Quran forbids me for eating swine." Bumpy said, "You got her brainwashed pretty good, Malcolm." He smiles. It's just devotion. Police are removing the tenants. Adam Clayton's Powell's not pleased with the situation. The cop says somebody paid the precinct with private muscle hired by the landlords. Bumpy and Elise talk. Adam Clayton Powell scolds Bumpy. It's your fault. We're your Italian friends. Malcolm talks to Adam to consider Bumpy's proposal. Adam Clayton Powell has his investigation found out the Italian families and Bumpy are the landowners of the property. And Malcolm's looking at Bumpy sideways, like, you know. And Adam's going to the press and he's going to go to the court and release the names of the people that are not. These people are not even paying taxes. Malcolm's upset at Bumpy for trying to use him. Stella appears to have a seizure. Gigante is crying, don't know what's going on with her. Elise goes back to the temple. 7. The Muslim sister scolds Elise where she's been. Elijah Muhammad's there. He tells the sister to calm down. They ask her where did she go with Malcolm on 117th Street. And they said it was something was going on about some violence going on, but they went down there and nothing happened. Malcolm didn't do anything wrong. So basically, Elijah is scolding her about. I asked you to protect Malcolm by basically giving me all the information of his whereabouts, where he's going, and to report all activities to me. And she said that Malcolm only speaks of you in the glory of your greatness, dear apostle. And he telling her now that he wants her to report to that Muslim sister, the one that's cold. Every time she look in the room, she stares at you. Got this cold stare anyway. The lady bartender goes to Bumpy about the situation with Flossie. That she came back in town. He said, I told her to leave. She came back in town because she could change her life if she wanted to see her mother. It was the last, her dying wish to see the mom was getting ready to die, so she wanted to see her. So she came back in town. And it's putting her in jeopardy and putting him in jeopardy. So they got to try to figure out something to get her back away. But anyway, Adam Clayton Powell, the mob people want Bumpy to do something about Adam Clayton Powell, basically kill him. And they say if he doesn't do it, they would do it. Stella seems okay from her seizure, and she's talking to her father about Lorenzo, why you killed Lorenzo, because they were lovers, and she got pregnant and she had the abortion, and that's why he killed him. And he told her to stay away from Teddy, don't hurt him. And he said he promised he wouldn't hurt him, but you know how that go. Mayme talks to Bumpy. Friend, so-called friend, Adam Clayton Powell, in his office. She's trying to charm Adam about backing off from her husband. He'll pay the taxes, whatever, and that to basically leave his name out of the indictment. And then she sees Amy Vanderbilt in the lounge when she leaves the office and says, have you messed with the Reverend? And she said, no. That's what you get when you get with Philly Mayon, and you go from that to a greasy cheeseburger. She basically just, she don't like her because she's messing with her husband. You could tell the tension there. Bumpy and the soldiers have a meeting with Adam about Adam Clayton Powell, about not assassinating him. And Banana agrees that they got good lawyers; they can resolve it a different way. And you could tell he's upset that he wants to do something to Bobby Kennedy. But I digress. Malcolm's in his office. He's throwing up he's upset. He throws all his papers all over the floor. He's mad by Bumpy using them. Elise reminds Malcolm that her father's a gangster, that he used to be one at one time too. And she convinces him to make the gangster a political weapon to protect Adam Clayton Powell and the tenants of the apartments. So she collects all the papers and gives it back to him. The bar lady knows about the situation with Flossie. They trying to get Flossie out of town. The other guys trying to get Flossie out of town. And then Ernie and his goons, his other goon guy, come up there and grab her up, and he punches the other guy out. And they grab her up and take her back to Gigante and the other mob boss. And she was told, they were grilled, that she was told that she paid by Bumpy to leave town. She saw the whole thing went down, and that she enjoyed every minute of it. And she said that you're not gonna let me go, so just go ahead and kill me. And they basically, Gigante shoots her, kills her. Malcolm goes to Bumpy, asking for protection for Adam Clayton Powell and the tenants. Malcolm said, "You trust the Italians, Bumpy?" Malcolm tells Bumpy, "Every man has a legacy, whether you want one or not. What is yours? Having a lot of money, or doing something to service your community and your people?" He told him to get conscious, brother, get conscious. That was deep. Ernie talks to Gigante and about handling the situation, about Bumpy lying to Banano. The mob guys out there to get ready to whack Adam Clayton Powell, Congressman Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Gigante goes to Banano saying, "Bumpy, you're lying. Is lying to you, Banano. He killed your son." He said, "No, you killed my son." No. And he basically took the body from that filler's spot and then put it over to the one of Bumpy's warehouses where he does the drug manufacturing of the drugs. So now he's saying, "Banano, what we gonna do now?" Banano's kind of ticked off. He's ready to do something. The mob guys get ready to do the hit. He's in the car getting to lean out to shoot at him, and then Bumpy comes with this switchblade and cut his neck. I was like, oh my, woo! Adam Clayton Powell walks away, clear away. Gigante is putting all the blame on Bumpy and Banano for the killing of his son, and put the body in Bumpy's warehouse. And so it's all Bumpy. He's the one that did everything. Mayme reads the paper of the Amsterdam News about the victory for Harlem as Adam Clayton Powell takes on the slumlords. And Adam leaves his name out of the indictment. So, wow, war is coming soon, as we can tell. And that's it for this particular episode. If you like my videos, y'all, please hit that like icon and subscribe to Mujahid 72 on YouTube. As always, everybody take care. Peace. I'm out, y'all.